Part 27. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 261. Bone Shield. Yang Tian immediately cast a bone shield on himself. At this time, Huang Mao Ziajin and other fierce men had already begun to slaughter crazily under the rain of poison needles, causing large numbers of wasps to fall. Yang Tian also immediately used the extreme summoning to summon 10 teams of undead armies to strengthen his own combat power. Undead transformation, vampire count. Blood splashing. A blood bucket suddenly appeared in Yang Tian's hand, filled with bright red blood. He suddenly splashed forward, without any damage, but stained countless wasps in front of him with blood. Blood explosion. Yang Tian stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers, bang bang bang, and saw that those bloody wasps exploded and were instantly destroyed, even affecting some innocent wasps. Blood explosion is naturally far inferior to corpse explosion, but it is also more than 10 times the high damage group attack, and the effect is outstanding. Undead transformation, Black Knight. Sweep thousands of troops. Whirlwind Thorn. Yang Tian slaughtered like crazy, and he didn't know how many hornets he killed every second. Soon a minute passed, and Yang Tian and others crushed the first level of hell. Looking at the whole field, the original 15 people, now only Yang Tian, Xiaojin Xianyu and Long Alice, Long Lu and Tyran, a total of 6 people. The rest, including Huang Mao, all died in the battle. Yang Tian was secretly shocked. If he didn't have a bone shield, he would have died long ago. Because his basic magic attack is high, his bone shield is also several times stronger than the elemental shield of an ordinary mage. In the next few levels, the hornets are getting more and getting stronger. Yang Tian led the team to fight very hard. He had to stop at each level to disperse the broken bone shield and bless a new bone shield. The hornet can fly, which is really hummed up. Yang Tian Sea of Fire can't burn it. The hornet is also very mean. It has to shoot all the poison needles in one wave before flying down for close combat. Only then can the power of Yang Tian's undead army be reflected. That's why he had such a hard time fighting. After crushing the enhanced killer bees, only Yang Tian and Xiaojin were left in the entire team. Yang Tian rested for a few minutes, and after his status was full and all his skills were cooled down, he finally took Xiaojin into the boss room. In Taizhou, under normal circumstances, the boss room is always alone. For the challenger, this is of course a good thing. The boss is already strong enough, and if there is a team around him, it will be even more terrifying. In that beehive, there is a golden bee species with a crown, which looks extremely noble. It is obviously a royal beast, but its size is smaller than that of a killer bee, but no one dares to underestimate it. Royal bee, royal beast. Level 65. HP, 20 million. Basic physical attack, 200,000. Non-attribute attack. Fire resistance 2000, light, dark and ice resistance 5000. Armor penetration 4000. Dual protection 2000. Skills, power attack, combo, stab, poison needle, 1000 needle slaughter. Passive, earthquake, double needle attack, golden cicada escape. Humph, a mere human and skeleton dare to break into this royal nest, it is simply not worth dying. The royal bee snorted coldly, and the wings behind it moved, and it flew out at such a fast speed that it left a golden afterimage behind it. Yang Tian quickly retreated, and at the same time waved his hand to summon the little devil and the little gold to combine, releasing the devil sucker, and had an absolute hatred for the royal bee. In an instant, a red exclamation mark popped up next to the royal bee's forehead, and its eyes turned extremely red, staring at Xiaojin, as if Xiaojin had killed its entire family. Strong attack. With a bang, the royal bee's golden double needle suddenly hit Xiaojin's face, dealing up to 4 million real damage. Even though Xiaojin had thick skin and flesh, he still lost 1/5 of his blood. According to this rhythm, it couldn't withstand the royal bee's 5 moves. Strike! Xiaojin snorted coldly, raised his sword and chopped it down, but only cut a golden afterimage, and the royal bee had already flown away. Hiss, such a fast speed, I don't know how many times faster than Xiaojin. Yang Tian hid behind him in a wretched manner, sighing secretly. At the same time, he also threw out skill attacks continuously, but he couldn't even touch a hair of the royal bee. This royal bee is quite smart. Although it has absolute hatred for Xiaojin, it actually knows how to dodge attacks from the enemy. Poison Needle. Combo. The royal bee was extremely fast, flying around Xiaojin, leaving behind golden afterimages, and tossing Xiaojin around. At the same time, it continued to attack, and in just a few hits, Xiaojin was left with little health. Thunder and electromagnetic field. Xiaojin roared angrily, and purple lightning like evil dragons was aroused all over his body, spreading for dozens of yards, sticking the royal bee to the thunder wall. Powerful sweep. Xiaojin held the sword in both hands and danced wildly. The blade cut through the air, causing a circle of white eyes visible to the naked eye. The blade even cut the royal bee in half, dealing more than 10 million damage. The royal bee body, which was divided into 2 halves, fell to the ground with lightning. No. The royal bee has 20 million lives? Although Xiaojin dealt more than 10 million damage, he couldn't kill it, escape from the shell? Yang Tian and Xiaojin looked up at the same time and found that the royal bee was still flying around. There was no sign of injury on its body. The royal bee is too fast, but its defense is very ordinary. Xiaojin only needs 2 moves to kill it in seconds, Yang Tian thought secretly. For example, the Son of the Earth, which is only a level 55 royal beast, has 3000 points of double protection. The royal bee is a level 65 royal beast, but its double protection is only 2000 points. The difference between them is not a little bit. However, Xiaojin seems to have a hard time hitting it, and the only strong control was also escaped by the royal bee using the golden cicada to escape. Yang Tian sighed secretly. Xiaojin couldn't control it with a large-scale strong control, so how could he control it? Ghost Hand, Ice Formation, Sticky Spider, these types of control are powerless against flying monsters. Man-eating grass and ghosts may be controlled, but the opponent is too fast, and their probability of control is as low as 0. Sure enough, I still have to rely on my corpse explosion. Yang Tian smiled. The royal bee has a low defense attribute, which gives him a chance. He estimated that only 200 corpse explosions of the undead were needed to kill the royal bee. Darkness is coming. Extreme Summoning. Yang Tian released skills one after another, causing boundless darkness to cover the entire hive, causing the royal bee's dark resistance to drop by 1,500 points, leaving only 3,500 points. Yang Tian's dark strength was as high as 3,400 points, which doubled the damage reduction. At the same time, Yang Tian arranged a summoning array around Xiaojin and summoned 10 teams of dark undead. As long as the royal bee dared to pounce, Yang Tian would explode and die. And, don't get in the way, the royal bee snorted coldly, and his arms continuously blasted the air, creating a white mist visible to the naked eye, and then countless flying needles swept down like a rainstorm. It was also 1,000 needle slaughter, but the range and power of this move were much greater than that of the killer bee. Although Xiaojin was still not killed, 90% of the undead army that Yang Tian had just summoned were killed. Absolute hatred doesn't work, Yang Tian secretly complained in his heart. Recommend a good book, The Prodigal Soul Weapon Master. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 262. The absolute hatred of the little devil used to be invincible. It was directly targeted by the monster, thus cancelling the monster's hatred for any other target. But it didn't work so well with the royal bee. The royal bee still regarded Xiao Jin as the first target of hatred, but it did not completely lose its mind. It would dodge and clear the obstacles in front of Xiao Jin first. I'm afraid that in the eyes of the royal bee, the army of undead was an obstacle. It accidentally broke the game set by Yang Tian. Die, the lingering skeleton, the royal bee roared, flapped its wings, and rushed down, leaving a series of golden after-images behind. That speed was terrifying. The opportunity cannot be missed. Yang Tian looked at the battlefield in front of him. There were less than 100 undead left. His face sank, and he still failed. There were dozens of undead, and the corpse explosion was still dozens of times the damage. The undead suddenly pounced, and when they were about to explode, the royal bee seemed to realize that something was wrong and wanted to escape. But it didn't escape, and was still hit by the corpse explosion. 918-0021. Huge damage appeared, the HP of the royal bee dropped by half, and half of its body was blown off. Damage deepened. Yang Tian didn't give the royal bee a chance to breathe, and immediately connected the damage deepened, double the damage, and it must kill the royal bee in seconds. But at this moment, the royal bee was covered with rich blood. Yang Tian was stunned. That was the symbol of the evolution of anger. When anger evolves, it will produce rich blood, which will wrap the whole body and have a short-term invincible effect. It is for this reason that Yang Tian's previous damage deepened, which was immune to the royal bee. About a second later, the blood dissipated, and the royal bee appeared again. It didn't change much overall, but there were 3 red, orange, and yellow lights around it, which kept flowing, looking sacred and compelling. 3 colors, spiritual beast. The royal bee evolved into the spiritual king bee, a level 65 spiritual beast. You should know that in Taixu, only when the spirits gather at level 120, will there be spirit beasts. There are generally only 3 possibilities for encountering spirit beasts in the early stage. First, the need for activities, such as the goblins last time, not only spirit beasts, but also divine beasts appeared. Second, cubs above spirit beasts. This situation is actually very unlikely, because those cubs usually stay with the mother beast. It is unknown how long it will take for them to run out. If they are bumped into by players, it is as lucky as winning the first prize in the lottery. Third, it is evolution. The royal beast and the spirit beast are 1 level apart. When the royal beast evolves, it will naturally become a spirit beast. Looking at the spirit king bee, Yang Tian was not panicked at all, and his eyes were full of ecstasy. Although the royal bee evolved into the spirit king bee, its half body that was blown off was not repaired. It only had half a head, 1 arm, and 1 wing, which looked extremely ferocious. Although there were 3 colorful lights surrounding it, it was extremely difficult for it to flap its single wing and keep its broken body in the air. It lost its most proud speed and became disabled. Spirit King Bee, Spirit Beast. Level 65. HP, 11 million/60 million, recover 1.8 million HP per second. Basic physical attack, 600,000. Non-attribute attack. 4 resistance 6,500. Armor penetration 6,500. Dual protection 3,500. Skills, power attack, combo, stab, poison needle, 1000 needle slaughter. Passive, earthquake, double needle attack, golden cicada shell. Bloodline skills, extreme stab, queen bee wing. Status, disabled state, inconvenient to move. The Spirit King Bee can repair its disability after accumulating 100 seconds in a non-combat state. Tisk tisk, the Spirit Beast is really terrible. Yang Tian glanced at the attributes of the Spirit King Bee and sighed. There is a 3-color light flowing around the Spirit King Bee, which proves that it is already a real spirit beast that gathers spirits. Unlike players, for example, although Yang Tian has a spirit level bloodline, he must wait until level 120 to gather spirits and have a 3-color light flowing around his body. The Spirit Beast or Spirit King recovers 3% of its health and mana per second. Although the Spirit King Bee is in a state of low health now, it recovers 1.8 million health per second, which is really terrible. At present, the Spirit King Bee is still in a disabled state and needs to stop fighting for 100 seconds to repair its disability. It will never have this opportunity, because Yang Tian and Xiao Jin will continue to attack it and it is impossible to give it a chance to stop fighting. However, Xiao Jin can't break its defense at all now. The disabled spirit beast with inconvenient movement is right in front of it, but it can't kill it. Add 1.8 million. 1 second later, the Spirit King Bee flapped its single wing and trembled in the air, and an extremely huge green value appeared on its head. The red value represents damage. The bright red value represents critical damage. The green value represents blood recovery. The Spirit King Bee recovered 1.8 million health in one breath, and the blood bar went up by 1. Yang Tian was shocked, but there was nothing he could do. Now Xiao Jin can't break the defense. Only his corpse explosion and damage deepening were used for damage output, but he had used these two skills before. Damage deepening was fine, it only needed a 5-second cooldown, but it had to rely on corpse explosion to deal high burst damage. Corpse explosion required a 30-second cooldown, and more importantly, corpse explosion required the sacrifice of the undead to deal damage. And the undead summoning skills all had a 1-minute cooldown. In other words, Yang Tian had to wait another minute before he could deal strong damage. 1 minute later, the Soul King Bee had already recovered its full health, which was 60 million health. Xiao Jin, go ahead, beat it down for me, at least don't let it recover its disability, Yang Tian said. Xiao Jin roared when he heard this, pounced on it, and smashed the Soul King Bee suspended in the air to the ground with a sword. The Soul King Bee struggled hard, but couldn't get up anyway. Yang Tian began to summon the undead. 10 teams of undead were cooling down, and he had other undead. Summon the ghost. Summon the man-eating grass. Summon the sticky spider. Summon the self-destructing spider. Summon the steel cannon car. Summon the vampire. Summon the vampire lord. Summon the netherworld assassin. Summon the black knight. The undead army attacked the Soul King Bee crazily, but they couldn't break through the defense, and could only force 1 point of damage. And the Soul King Bee recovered 1.8 million health per second. There was no other way, Yang Tian had to fight, and couldn't let it recover its disability, otherwise, it would inevitably end in a group annihilation. Ants, stop trying to provoke me. You can't kill me anyway, so why bother struggling? Let me kill you. The King Bee was lying on the ground, saying coldly. Don't joke, you are already disabled, wait for death, Yang Tian sneered back. Soon a minute passed, and the King Bee's life was full. At this time, Yang Tian's skills were basically all cooled down. Change clothes. Life mirror. Yang Tian decisively summoned white muddy water, and the two of them used extreme summons at the same time, summoning a black army of undead. Why summon white muddy water now? Because before, his skill CD, summoned white muddy water is his copy, the skill is also CD, and it has no effect. But now it is different. Thank you brothers for your support, this book is the best in the server at the same time. Feeling that I am making progress, that feeling, in one word, very cool. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 263. Weakness. Yang Tian raised his hand and cast a layer of weakness aura on the Spirit King Bee. The same name buff, whether it is an amplification buff or a weakening buff, cannot be stacked. So only Yang Tian released it, and the white muddy water was not released, because only one release is effective. Weakness, targeting a single target, reduces all attributes of the target by 20%. Lasts for 2 seconds. No matter how high the weakness level is, it is still the same effect, so, does weakness not need to be upgraded? Not entirely. Your weakness level is too low. If the opponent has a priest, it can be easily dispelled. Weakness is undoubtedly a very strong skill. Spirit King B, Spirit Beast. Level 65. HP, 48 million/48 million, recover 1.44 million HP per second. 4 resistance 5200. Dual guard 2800. Darkness is coming. This is also a weakening buff, which cannot be stacked. After Yang Tian released it, the dark resistance of the Spirit King B dropped again, leaving only 3700 points. Yang Tian's dark strength is 3400, and the Spirit King B's dark resistance is 3700, reducing damage by 4 times. Yang Tian's magic penetration is 500, and the Spirit King B's magic guard is 2800, reducing damage by 24 times. Yang Tian's absolute critical strike doubles the critical strike damage by 2.8 times. Yang Tian's painful price doubles the damage. White muddy water is the same as him. Corpse explosion. Corpse explosion. 875-0000. 875-0000. Damage deepens. Damage deepens. 175-00000. 175-00000. Yang Tian's white muddy water, after one wave, directly took away the Spirit King B. The Xinwu Empire broadcast sounded, and the whole country was shocked. However, they didn't know that Yang Tian's fight was not just as simple as the Hell level, but also took down a Spirit Beast. How rich is the experience of a level 65 Spirit Beast? In addition to the experience reward for the first kill, all 15 members of the team were upgraded by 1 level, and each of them gained 1 skill point. Spirit Weapon. Bloodline. The Spirit King B exploded with a large amount of loot, among which there were 2 items, with 3-color light flowing around the body, a Spirit Weapon ring, and a drop of Spirit Beast bloodline. Spirit King B Assassination Ring, Spirit Weapon. Level 60. Equipment Type, Ring. Physical Defense add 10,000. Magic Defense add 10,000. Strength add 8,000. Additional Attributes, Armor Penetration add 1,200. Additional Attributes, Critical Hit Rate add 100%, Critical Hit Damage add 200%. Additional Skills, Extreme Stab. Extreme Stab, Instant, Ignore Enemy Defense, Steel Guard, 1000% Physical Attack Power. Cooldown Time, 60 seconds. Spirit King B Bloodline, Spirit Level Consumable after use, the difficulty is upgraded to 6 times, and the upgraded attributes are changed to, 5 attributes add 30 points, and the Bloodline skills Extreme Stab and Queen Bee Wings are obtained after level 120, the Bloodline awakens, obtains the ability to fly, and the attributes are greatly improved. Give the Spirit King B Assassination Ring to Xiaojin, Yang Tian said secretly. As a Necromancer, he outputs magic. He personally does not need armor penetration, but he has armor penetration, which can be blessed to the physical undead under his command. But he is a magic output, and the Extreme Stab, no matter how powerful it is, he can't do any damage. Why should he occupy the toilet? Only Xiaojin can maximize the power of this spiritual ring with equipment. As for Bloodline, I already have a spiritual level Bloodline. It's a waste to use it. Give it to Huangmao, Yang Tian pondered. Generally, a level 61 player will only get 60 points of 5 attributes from upgrading. The 5 attributes of a level 61 player with a spiritual bloodline are 1,800 points. The difference is unknown. Although it is 6 times more difficult to upgrade for a spiritual bloodline player, it is definitely worth it. It must be said that the Spirit King B bloodline is much stronger than the Goblin Spirit bloodline. Grease the solace of the feet, speed add 30%, lasts for 1 minute, cool down for 5 minutes. Queen Bee Wings, with the ability to fly, speed add 30%, lasts for 1 minute, cool down for 5 minutes. This bloodline skill alone is already a complete explosion. What's more, the Spirit King B bloodline has another bloodline skill. Interestingly, the additional skills of the spiritual weapon and the bloodline skill of the Spirit King B bloodline are the same, both are extreme stabs. Of course, whether it is the additional skills of the equipment or the bloodline skills, they cannot be upgraded. Extreme stab, absolute armor penetration, 10 times the damage, this is the upper limit. At this stage, the common skills of the players are all LV20 and above, which means more than 10 times the damage. Extreme stab is an absolute armor breaking skill, which is still advantageous at present. In the later stage, the advantage is naturally not great. Oh my god, whether it is a spiritual weapon or a spiritual bloodline, it is not for me to use. This is embarrassing. Yang Tian smiled bitterly, and he had to settle for the next best thing. His eyes were on the 5 Imperial products. 2 60-level Imperial leather armors, a 60-level Imperial bracelet, a natural furnace, and a 60-level Imperial armor-breaking gem. Yang Tian collected them all, and none of them suited him. After quitting the game, Yang Tian gave the Spiritual King B bloodline to Huang Mao, the spiritual weapon to Xiajin, and the imperial weapon to Xiaofei, which greatly improved the combat power of the 3 people. Especially Huang Mao and Xiajin, they each improved a lot. Next, everyone spent another 2 days to take down the other 3 hell first kills, gaining huge first kills and 3 skill points. These hell first kills were all taken down by Huang Mao, and he finally won the title of Royal Commander. Why 2 days? Because everyone's level is above level 61, and there is a daily challenge limit for challenging the level 60 dungeon. You knew Hong Yan? I remember he seemed to be the captain of the Demon God. The Demon God mainly developed in the Guangzhou Empire. Why did he come to the Xinwu Empire? And he was wearing the same pants as Han Shui when he came. In the past 2 days, all the level 60 hell first kills were taken down, and the Sword Emperor was very upset. He finally noticed the existence of Huang Mao. Boss, according to reliable information, you knew Hong Yan is Xian Ji's biological brother. It seems that there is something wrong between the two. Now you knew Hong Yan has rebelled against the Demon God and created the Angry God Guild, and came to our Xinwu Empire to develop AO Shi Fenchen said. I see. The Sword Emperor nodded. Fenchen said again, also, a month and a half ago, the God of Wrath and the God of Devil had fought in the Tianlan Empire, and Han Shui also participated at that time. There is news that Han Shui has a royal beast war servant under his command, which seems to be a skeleton with light attributes. His royal beast war servant? No wonder he can get the first kill of the 60th level hell, Sword Emperor gasped. He reacted instantly and felt horrified. Royal Beast War Servant? Why can Han Shui have a Royal Beast War Servant? This is tricky now. In the early stage, Han Shui relied on the Lord War Servant to expand his advantage. Fortunately, the National Day event reshuffled the cards. I didn't expect that he didn't know where to get a Royal Beast War Servant now. If this goes on, his advantage will be like a snowball, rolling bigger and bigger, Sword Emperor said to himself. His eyes were full of fear. Thinking that he, the president of a giant guild, would be so afraid of a savage with no power, it's funny to say it, but he couldn't laugh at all. Xiao Lanyan Xieying is also a savage, or more accurately, a passerby king. However, in the eyes of the Sword Emperor, the 3 of them combined are far less terrifying than Yang Tian alone. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi San. Chapter 264. Tomorrow is Sunday again. Since Yu Wuhanjian and Muddy Waters wear the same pants, we will beat him once and make them all drop down. The Sword Emperor snorted coldly, still feeling unhappy in his heart. He felt that the punishment for the siege order activity was too low. The main thing is that although the person being challenged must accept the challenge the first time, he can refuse the challenge next time. Damn it, I'll drop one level a week. He wanted to kill Yang Tian back to level 0. How could he enjoy it if he only lost one level every week? On the other side, Yang Tian and others have already won the first hell kill of 4 level 60 dungeons in the Xinwu Empire. Xiao Fei rolled his eyes and said, "Boss, our advantage is so great now, why limit our sights to the Xinwu Empire? We can take all the first kills of the 4 empires." Everyone was startled and looked sideways at Xiao Fei, realizing that this guy was quite ambitious. "Well, that's what I have in mind. In this case, Xiaofei, you will be responsible for going to the other 3 empires and setting up the teleportation array." Yang Tian smiled, he had already had this idea. Being a member of the Hidden Empire has its disadvantages and advantages. No matter where you are, if you go there once and set up the teleportation array, you can come and go freely in the future. Xiao Fei nodded and teleported away. Currently, there are only 5 people in the entire Shenlong Empire: Yang Tian, Xianyuan Long Xiao Jin, and Xiao Fei Long Lu. As long as Xiaofei arranges the Imperial teleportation array, everyone can teleport there at will. Although Alice is not a member of the Shenlong Empire, Yang Tian can first put her into the pet space, which is the same. A hell first kill provides 15 skill points. There are 6 people on Yang Tian's side, and each of them gets 2 points, but also wastes 3 points, which is very unpleasant. "Huang Mao, are you willing to join the Shenlong Empire?" Yang Tian asked. Speaking of which, the biggest disadvantage of Hidden Empire is that it has no fighting spirit in the early stage. It was not until after the founding of the country that the empire truly existed, that members of the empire could register as imperial warriors and activate the military rank system. But it is so difficult to build a country. It is not only necessary to find the imperial seal, but also to have a city. If there is no city, one must be conquered. Moreover, even if you succeed in founding your country, how can the 4 great empires tolerate you? When the time comes to lead troops to go on an expedition, your country will be destroyed again. Therefore, the establishment of a hidden empire must be a matter of later stages. As for the members of the hidden empire, the disadvantage of not having fighting spirit will last until the later stages. The so-called late stage is naturally the player's side, which has the ability to kill the Holy King NPC. Huang Mao frowned, weighing the gains and losses. If he joins the Shenlong Empire, with Yang Tianxiajian's current advantages, he can get some skill points and even continue to expand his advantages. But at the same time, he also lost his fighting spirit. Yang Tian waited quietly, not disturbing Huang Mao's thinking. He definitely wanted Huang Mao to do well, but he couldn't tell which side had the advantage. After all, once you join the Hidden Empire, there is no way out. Let Huang Mao choose by himself, at least he won't regret it. "Okay, I will also join the Shenlong Empire." Huang Mao smiled. "We are also willing to join the Shenlong Empire." After everyone waited, they said the same thing. As a result, everyone quit the Xinwu Empire one after another, and all their previous military ranks disappeared. Yang Tian's pulled them all into the Shenlong Empire. Because of the effect of the Shenlong Empire emblem, their 5 attributes were at 10%, which greatly improved their attributes, making them all smile from ear to ear. They are not as good as Huang Mao, their military ranks are not high, and they have no fighting spirit anyway. There is no loss at all by joining the Hidden Empire. Only Huang Mao smiled bitterly, not knowing whether his choice was right or wrong. Yang Tian walked over and patted him on the shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, we hide the members of the empire." If we gain an advantage in the early stage and activate our fighting spirit in the later stage, we will definitely be invincible. Sometimes, giving yourself more possibilities is not bad thing. There is no fighting spirit in the early stage, but you have to compete with the top gods. The pressure is real. If you can withstand that kind of pressure, the possibilities in the later stages are simply unimaginable. Yeah, I know that. Huang Mao nodded and said no more. At this time, Lang Ling said with a bitter look on his face, I'll go, you all go to the Shenlong Empire, and you'll leave me behind. Everyone burst into laughter. Lang Ling was a member of the Hidden Empire and had no way to withdraw. In other words, when Xiao Fei sets up the teleportation array, everyone can teleport there and get the first kill, but he won't be able to enjoy it. By the way, Lang Ling, who is the young master of your wolf totem? Yang Tian suddenly asked. He is relatively strong. As a member of the Shenlong Empire, he takes his young master, Xianyuan Long as a war servant. He even took Alice as a servant. Of course, this was all due to his chance. How can ordinary members of the Hidden Empire have such opportunities and courage as he does? Even though he is Lang Ling, he must obey his young master. Lang Ling's expression became serious and he said, our young master is very powerful, at least level 100 or above. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Xianyuan Longer was very aggressive and said unconvinced, how old is your young master? Well, about 25 years old, Lang Ling said with a smile. Xianyuan Longer breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. She has not yet celebrated her 18th birthday. In her opinion, after she turns 25, she will be more than level 100. Lang Ling, you are of the spirit beast bloodline, so what about your young master? Yang Tian asked. We are all spiritual blood, but our blood can evolve, Lang Ling said proudly. Yang Tian's pupils shrank slightly. Like him and Huang Mao, both of them are spiritual blood. After level 120, they can gather spirits and become spiritual kings. But the upper limit is like this. If you want to further ascend to immortality, become a saint, and become a god, you must devour higher level blood. However, the blood of Lang Ling and his young master can devour other blood to evolve. It is possible to directly devour several spiritual bloods and evolve into immortal blood. Although their blood is not god-level blood, it can also grow into god-level blood. Sure enough, the royal descendants of the Hidden Empire are not simple. Next, Yang Tian broke up with Lang Ling, and everyone was teleported to the Minotaur tribe. Yang Tian led the team to kill monsters and continue to level up. The next day, December 10th, was Sunday again. The siege order activity started again. The God of Fury accepted Aoshi's challenge immediately. It was the first time he was challenged that day, and he couldn't refuse. How is it, are you sure? Huang Mao looked at Yang Tian. I don't have the authority to refuse. Even if I'm not sure, what can I do? We can only go, Yang Tian said with a smile. At this stage, he almost has invincible combat power. Who can withstand a corpse explosion? It's like he played an assassin in his previous life. No matter who he fought, it was at least 50-50. He has the strongest spear, but he doesn't have the strongest shield. At this stage, those gods who have opened their fighting spirit can also kill him. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 265. Desert Battlefield. Let's defend the wave first and be more steady, Yang Tian said. Huang Mao nodded, waved his hand, and half of the shooters climbed onto the high platform. The city gate was wide open, and the melee fighters from the other side rushed out to guard the city gate. Not long after, the Sword Emperor led his army to the gate of Raging God City. He looked up and saw Yang Tian on the high platform. He sneered, Muddy Waters, you're still here. I thought you accepted our proud challenge. Will you quit the Angry God Guild immediately? If Yang Tian quits Wrath God, he will not lose level if Wrath God is defeated. In fact, the moment Nu Shen accepted the challenge from Aoshi, many people from Nu Shen actually quit the guild. This is normal. Furious God can only be regarded as a newcomer at the moment. How can he compare with a giant like Aoshi who has dominated the gaming industry for many years? It is inevitable for many people to quit the guild directly because they do not want to drop a level. Of course, if the angry god wins, or even becomes a giant guild in the future, and they want to join, it will be impossible. There are weeds everywhere, but no one likes them. Haha, Sword Emperor, don't overestimate yourself. You are full of strength now. When you are defeated, how will you step down? Yang Tian sneered in return. To be honest, although he was not absolutely sure of winning this battle, he was at least 80% sure of winning. Where do you, the Sword Emperor, get your confidence? Funny, how could I lose? The Sword King sneered and said, Archers, get ready and shoot Muddy Water's head off for me. Boo-hoo-hoo. The Sword Emperor gave an order, and all the archers under his command set up their bows and shot arrows. Fire, Huang Mao roared angrily, and the high platform guard team set fire at the same time, including cannons and crossbows. Undead transformation, Black Knight. Whirlwind. Yang Tian Huang Mao danced his spear wildly at the same time, turned into a shield and blocked it in front of him, deflecting all the arrows he shot. Both sides were consumed fiercely. The strange thing is that the fixed damage cannons and crossbows on Angry God's side can't kill the proud people in seconds. Solid damage ignores the enemy's defense, so that means... Humph, they piled up blood. As expected of Aoshi, who has experienced hundreds of battles, he knows the routines of this guild war activity clearly. Huang Mao snorted coldly, with an extremely ugly look on his face. As time passed, the fight between the two sides became more and more intense. People on both sides fell, but there was no doubt that more people died on the side of the angry god. After all, the opponent is proud of the world and must have an advantage in terms of combat power. Darkness is coming. With a wave of Yang Tian's hand, the sky instantly darkened and dark clouds gathered, causing the dark resistance of everyone in Aoshi to drop by 1,500 points. I'm going to weaken the buff so powerfully. The range is so huge, all members of Aoshi cried out in horror. Immediately, with a swish sound, a black flame started from under the city wall and instantly spread to the feet of all members of Aoshi. 110,232. 120,034. 92,032. 80,302. At one time, hundreds of people in the proud world had huge burns on their heads. Most of it was crispy, and it couldn't hold on for even a second. With a scream, it was burned to death by the sea of black fire. The remaining crispy skins are all mages with elemental shields. But their basic magic attack is far inferior to Yang Tian. In addition, they usually dare not resist monsters, and the level of elemental shield is not high. To sum up, their elemental shields are not very strong. They will be completely destroyed after being burned by the black sea of fire for 1 second. At this pace, they couldn't last more than 3 seconds. Even some soldiers could not bear it, and many people were burned to death by the fire. Holy shit, the sea of fire is so powerful. Ao Shifanshan's eyes bulged, and he was so frightened that his eyeballs almost fell out. As a controller of fire, he has extremely high attainments in fire magic, which is far beyond the comparison of ordinary elemental mages. But even if he releases the sea of fire, he can only do 10,000 to 20,000 damage at the moment, which is far less than a Necromancer. Generally, a Necromancer has a low basic magic attack, and the power of the dark sea of fire should be far less than that of the sea of fire. When we arrived at Yang Tian, everything was completely opposite. That guy from Muddy Waters, is he really a Necromancer? I dare to say that his basic magic attack must be several times higher than mine, Ao Shifanshan said in shock. His basic magic attack has exceeded 30,000. The great masters at this stage generally have a basic physical attack or magic attack of 30,000. But Yang Tian, because of the heart of the sacred tree and the conversion of magic energy, his basic magic attack is as high as 150,000. Fen Tian's guess was absolutely correct. Yang Tian's current basic magic attacks were something even a great god would have to look up to. After hearing Fenshan's analysis, the Sword Emperor's face instantly darkened, as black as the bottom of a pot. He knew that Yang Tian was a member of the Hidden Empire and definitely had no fighting spirit. In his opinion, Yang Tian is not worth mentioning at all now. The reason why Yang Tian won the first kill in level 60 Hell was all because of the Imperial Beast skeleton. However, he did not expect that although Yang Tian had no fighting spirit, he still possessed unimaginable terrifying combat power. Damn it, does he have a god-level bloodline? No, even a god-level bloodline can't have such a big advantage. The Sword Emperor's heart froze, and before he knew it, he was sweating profusely, even on his back. They were soaked in cold sweat and felt chilly. Although there are advantages to things like bloodline obtained in the early stages, they cannot be so huge. Bloodline will only show its power after reaching level 120. Muddy Waters must have a treasure on him. What is it? Sword Emperor's mind raced, thinking of 100 possibilities, but he denied them all. As a great god-level existence, he couldn't understand Yang Tian's depth. This couldn't be blamed on him. Yang Tian got the heart of the divine tree, which was a late-stage thing. He wasn't a reborn person. How could he know? Muddy Waters is indeed not an ordinary person. His basic magic attack is several times higher than ours. Even if he doesn't have Doqi, he is comparable to Doqi, Sword Emperor said in a deep voice. Fenshan nodded when he heard this. If he opened Doqi and set off a sea of fire, he could burn tens of thousands of blood in a second. Although he was not as good as Yang Tian. But he was only a colonel, with only LV3 Doqi, which only quadrupled his combat power. When he got the rank of Marshal and opened the full-level Doqi, it would be another matter. Get up, Sword Emperor stretched out his hand and pinched a sword formula. With a clang, a giant sword on his waist was unsheathed and automatically floated in front of him like a petal. He leaped up and flew high into the sky on his sword. Swish, swish, swish. At the same time, hundreds of masters in Aoshi all activated their fighting spirit. Fighting spirit turned into wings, and wings of light grew behind them. They flew into the air, away from the attack range of the Sea of Fire. Hiss, Aoshi has so many masters. Huang Mao looked at the hundreds of figures in the sky and took a breath. It was not until then that he understood the gap between Nu Shen and the Giant Guild. Looking at Nu Shen, only he had fighting spirit, and now he has withdrawn from the Shenwu Empire and become a member of the Shenlong Empire, and he has also lost his fighting spirit. In other words, no one in Nu Shen has fighting spirit now. But Aoshi has hundreds of people with fighting spirit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 266. At this stage, players with fighting spirit must be the best among the masters. You must kill enemy players in order to obtain meritorious deeds, improve your military rank, and activate your fighting spirit. If you are not a master, how can you kill enemy players? I am afraid that he has been hacked to death by the enemy long ago and has become a stepping stone for the enemy to upgrade his military rank. Red, orange, and yellow, most of them are level 1 fighting spirit. Yang Tian raised his eyes and glanced over, saying, there are less than 10 people with level 2 fighting spirit, and they are the real masters. There are only 2 people with level 3 fighting spirit, Sword Emperor Fenchen. Aoshi's background is really terrifying. Huang Mao sighed. It doesn't matter, I'll count 3 seconds and they will turn around and run away, Yang Tian said with a smile. You know, Do Chi Wing transformation is extremely mana-consuming, consuming 10% per second. They simply cannot withstand the consumption, and once they land, they cannot withstand the sea of darkness and fire. Escape and switch from offense to defense is their only way out. Sure enough, just as Yang Tian expected, in less than 3 seconds, the Sword Emperor ordered a retreat. Haha, don't run away. Aren't you guys awesome? Seeing that Yang Tian was furious, he had hundreds of people in the world and scared the Sword Emperor and others back. The angry god's troops suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and became arrogant. Stupid dog, if I don't run away, what will you do to me? The Sword King's face was cold, and his whole body was wrapped in fighting spirit, like an unsheathed sword, standing on the sword. He suddenly raised his hands high, gathering the sky-high sword energy, and slowly formed a giant sword of light and shadow that was 10 feet long above his head. 10,000 swords unite into one. He controlled the giant sword with both hands and slashed down in anger. Boom! Under the city gate, hundreds of members of the Raging God were instantly turned into white light. With a bang, the huge city gate burst open. Even the terrifying shockwave blew some of the crispy skin on the high platform into white light. The corpse came to the resurrection square and began to count down the seconds for resurrection. With one move from the Sword Emperor, there were only less than 300 pieces of crispy skin left on the angry god's side, causing those people to complain incessantly. As expected of the Sword Emperor, Yang Tian nodded secretly. Under his attack, Aoshi was instantly at a disadvantage. But the Sword Emperor's personal strength is too strong. He alone is comparable to thousands of troops. Fire, Yang Tian shouted loudly. Hearing this, the 300 city guards on the high platform simultaneously focused their fire and blasted towards the Sword Emperor above the sky. There are countless magic arrows, as well as cannons and crossbows. The Sword Emperor did not panic. He stepped on his sword and the entire sky became his battlefield. While dodging, he used another battle sword to harvest the crispy skin on the angry god's high platform. His battle sword is wrapped in yellow fighting spirit, which quadruples the damage. Puff! Along with the screams, people on angry god's side were constantly having their throats sealed with blood. The gate of the city of Raging God has been exploded by the Sword Emperor's 10,000 swords. But he didn't dare to rush in and attack the crystal. Fenchen had already escaped with his men. After all, his combat power alone was limited and it was difficult to destroy the crystal in a short time. If he rushes in, he will die. And now that he was wasting away like this, although he could harvest some people, he was also seriously injured. He was flying with his sword, and the sky was really big, but because he was not fast enough, it was naturally impossible for him to flash all his attacks. His blood tank was constantly decreasing. That is to say, he has yellow fighting spirit, which reduces the enemy's damage 4 times. Otherwise, he would have fallen. Muddy waters. What's your ability to bully the minority? If you have a bird in your crotch, come out and challenge me, the Sword Emperor roared, controlled the flying sword, and stabbed Yang Tian with another sword. Before Yang Tian could move, Huang Mao shot him away. The Sword Emperor's sword control skills are equivalent to normal attacks. Although there is an increase in fighting spirit, it is normal for Huang Mao to fly away with one skill. What the hell? If Aoshi had the upper hand, would you challenge me to a duel? What a shameful way to provoke a general, Yang Tian sneered and ordered to continue firing. If you don't fight, I won't fight. After all, you are the only one here, and I am the proudest master in the world. If we continue like this, it will only be detrimental to you. Walk. The Sword King sneered, and the sword under his feet dragged him in a sharp circle in the air and swept forward. When flying with a sword, the movement speed does not increase or decrease. In other words, the Sword Emperor's flying with his sword is his own speed. Huh. A strong wind sounded, and not long after the Sword King escaped, Yang Tian transformed into a vampire count and caught up. Yang Tian still has the effect of the 3-piece set of imperial weapons, with 5 attributes at 3000. Spiritual bloodline. Dragon Empire emblem. All these factors made Yang Tian's speed not slower than that of Jian Huang. You are here after all, but it's a pity that you don't have the real ability to fly. You have transformed into an undead. Although you can fly, it also limits your abilities and diversity, the Sword Emperor sneered. As he said, Yang Tian transformed into a vampire count and fought in the air, and could no longer transform into other undead. Because of this, the advantage of his undead transformation was limited in aerial combat. So what? You are flying with a sword, and losing a sword is like breaking an arm, Yang Tian also sneered. The real advantage of the sword master is nothing more than 2 swords. When flying with a sword, I lost a sword, and my actual combat power was not that much weaker. Stop talking nonsense. Fight. The Sword King roared angrily and stabbed out with his sword. Yang Tian turned over and flashed, and quickly fought with the Sword Emperor. 2 figures in the sky collided rapidly, sparks flew everywhere, and it was dazzling. Yang Tian's basic magic attack had an advantage. The Sword Emperor's fighting spirit had an advantage. In addition, both sides had absolute critical hits, but the Sword Emperor's critical hits had higher damage. Under such a comprehensive combination, the combat power of the 2 sides was actually almost the same, and the collision between the moves could not cause any damage. Tisk tisk, that's a battle at the level of a great god. The move was so fast, the operation was simply invincible. Yang Tian's Sword Emperor opened fire in the air, and everyone on the side of the God of Fury was amazed. At this stage, Yang Tian's Sword Emperor had a terrifying combat ability. If it wasn't for the counterattack, both sides could easily kill each other in seconds. In order not to be hurt by the other party, and even to kill the other party, both sides had to use all their skills to push their combat awareness, operation, and reaction speed to the extreme. The people on the side of the God of Wrath knew that even if they were given the same fighting power, they would not be able to withstand a single move from Yang Tian or the Sword Emperor. This was not a question of fighting power at all, but a question of technique. A few seconds later, the 2 sides exchanged a move, and each was knocked back several yards, with a white wave of air in the air. The people on the side of the God of Wrath observed carefully and took a breath of cold air. The 2 sides fought fiercely for several seconds, and they didn't know how many moves they had exchanged. And the health of both sides was only deducted a little. Obviously, both of them had the strongest spears, but they couldn't kill each other. Muddy Water, you are really ridiculously strong. You are playing a Necromancer, which is really a waste of talent, said the Sword Emperor. Really? Yang Tian sneered. I have the undead transformation, not only a Necromancer, but also an all-round profession. It's just that he is a little disadvantaged in air combat. After he gathers spirits at level 120, he has real flying ability. Even in air combat, he can switch transformations at will. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 267. Whether it is or not, you can't take my move, Sword Emperor sneered. The next moment, in the void behind him, a screen full of flying swords appeared out of nowhere, all pointing at Yang Tian. 10,000 blades. Sword Emperor uttered 2 words, and a screen full of flying swords rushed out behind him, with such power that it seemed to cut Yang Tian into pieces. Whether it is flying swords, or the combination of 10,000 swords, 10,000 blades, they are all his exclusive skills as a sword master, and each one is extremely powerful. Sword master, a hidden profession with 9 times the difficulty, is it a joke? Water God. Be careful. Sword Emperor is so mean, bullying my water god for being weak in air combat, and he even uses a big move, so shameless. Looking at the scene of the 10,000 swords, the people on the side of the angry god took a breath and cursed the Sword Emperor for being shameless. Even they could see that Yang Tian was indeed weak in air combat. After all, Yang Tian is just a necromancer. If he doesn't have the undead transformation, how can he compare with the real output profession? Don't panic, don't you still have me? Huang Mao stared at the battlefield in the sky ahead and shouted angrily. Boss, don't you have no fighting spirit? Everyone asked in confusion. Of course I have other flying abilities, Huang Mao said. He does have the ability to fly, that is, the blood skill, Queen Bee Wings. Without fighting spirit, he is definitely not as good as the Sword Emperor in terms of combat power, but it is easy for him to break the defense of the Sword Emperor with his combat power. Not enough fighting, disadvantage in fighting. As long as he doesn't fight, he still has a chance to defeat the Sword Emperor, and at least it's a 50-50 chance. Huang Mao has such confidence. The reason why he didn't rush up is because it's not glorious for two people to defeat the Sword Emperor. Undead transformation Black Knight. Whirlwind Slash. The range of the 10,000 blades is too large, Yang Tian really can't avoid it, and can only use Whirlwind Slash to resist. At the moment he transformed into the Black Knight, he lost his flying ability and fell rapidly. But as he fell, the black gun in his hand was still spinning rapidly, turning into a shield in front of him, and shattering the sword energy of light and shadow. After all, Wanren was a super large group attack, and the power of each sword energy was not high. The power of Yang Tian's Whirlwind Slash was enough to easily remove it. I knew you would do this. The Sword Emperor sneered. He had already predicted Yang Tian's back move. The sword in his hand and the sword under his feet had already flown out. At this time, Wanren was finished, and Yang Tian's Whirlwind Slash was also finished. The two flying swords hit out and blasted Yang Tian back for an unknown number of yards. Finally, he fell to the ground, parrying a deep gully on the rolling desert, and rolling yellow sand. The Sword Emperor's eyes were stern. He found that Yang Tian's blood tank on his head did not drop at all even though he was bearing his two flying swords. In addition, Yang Tian turned into a Black Knight, wearing black armor, but on his body, a white armor appeared at some point, bone shield. Of course, a deep X-shaped crack also appeared on the dark white armor, which seemed to be about to collapse at any time. So that's it? Your basic magic attack is high, so your bone shield is also extremely strong. The Sword Emperor gritted his teeth secretly, and understood it in his heart, but he was very unhappy. He finally caught a flaw in Yang Tian, but he didn't kill him in seconds. And he didn't know when there would be the next chance. Buzz. The Sword Emperor had naturally landed on the ground long ago. With his hands extended, the two swords returned again and were firmly held in his hands. Come again, the Sword Emperor held the two swords and ran out on the rolling sand waves. Looking for death. Yang Tian's face turned cold, and he turned into a ghost assassin and rushed out. Huishan sword. Rotating stab. The Sword Emperor kept the two swords parallel and slashed down diagonally. Yang Tian suddenly spun rapidly, stirring up a gust of wind around him, removing the power of the Sword Emperor's Huishan sword, and rushed to the front of the Sword Emperor. Cut the throat. The sharp dagger in his hand reflected the cold light, and cut the throat of the Sword Emperor from left to right. Yang Tian passed by the Sword Emperor, leaving a red blood light, and saw blood gushing out of the Sword Emperor's throat like a fountain. The Sword Emperor's eyes were full of disbelief until he lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Yang Tian took back the dagger and stood firm, standing proudly, leaving only a majestic back to the people of the angry god. The stabbing god, that's about it, but now he has a hideous skull face. Let's go, take advantage of the situation to take down Aoshi in one fell swoop. Yang Tian turned around and looked at the people of the angry god, and smiled. Oh! Everyone roared, jumped up, jumped down from the high platform, rolled to relieve the force, and soon came behind Yang Tian. So, Yang Tian Huangmao led the troops to charge, and in less than half a minute, they arrived under the wall of Aoshi. Before, Aoshi had mobilized all its forces, and most of them were burned to death by Yang Tian's dark sea of fire, and they have not been resurrected yet. And now, the Sword Emperor has also died on the battlefield. At present, there are only 100 people led by Fenchen in Aoshi, and they are all masters, and can be said to be the strongest group of people in Aoshi. Extreme Summoning. Xiaojin. Yang Tian summoned Xiaojin and 10 teams of undead in a row. That's right, he felt that fighting Aoshi would be a tough battle, so he simply brought Xiaojin with him. Heavy attack. Xiaojin and the Dark Army of Undead attacked the gate of Aoshi at the same time. With just one attack, there was a loud bang, and the gate of Aoshi exploded. Is that the Emperor Beast skeleton of Muddy Waters, Fenchen and others' pupils shrank. Although they were mentally prepared, they were still shocked by Xiaojin. At this time, Xiaojin led the army of undead to blow up the enemy's city gate, and did not stop at all. He led the team to kill and rushed into the huge crystal in the enemy square. Sea of Fire. 15,063. 15,063. 16,030. 16,030. Fenchen laid a sea of fire, causing the entire square to burn with raging flames. All the undead were burned, but they did not die. Yang Tian is now level 61, and all the undead under his command are level 61 high-level monsters or above. Although high-level monsters are also small monsters, they are much stronger than the ordinary monsters before. Level 49 ordinary monsters have less than 10,000 HP. But level 61 high-level monsters have HP of more than 50,000. If it were Yang Tian's powerful Dark Sea of Fire, it might be able to kill instantly, but Fenchen couldn't do it. Fighting Spirit. The enemy army has hit the nest, and Fenchen doesn't care about the consumption of mana, and immediately activates Fighting Spirit. At that moment, the rolling sea of fire on the square seemed to be covered with a layer of sharp air waves, burning and cutting at the same time, making the power of the sea of fire tripled. In another second, the army of undead fell in piles. On the square, only Xiaojin and a team of werewolf zombie kings were left. Yang Tian has trained summon werewolf zombie king to LV20, all of them are level 61 boss, HP exceeds 1 million, and the number is exactly 40. Bang bang bang, Xiaojin and the team of werewolf zombie kings ignored the sea of fire and attacked the crystal frantically, causing the crystal to tremble continuously, dropping crystal fragments all over the ground, and it could explode at any time. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 268. What are you still standing there for? Let's fight to the death and kill the royal beast skeleton in 1 second. Even if the challenge fails, it's worth it, Fenchen roared. This desert battlefield is not a dungeon. Xiaojin is dead and he will definitely not be resurrected. Fenchen wanted to push Xiaojin down. In this way, even if the challenge failed, Yang Tian would lose his biggest trump card. Swish, swish, swish. Hundreds of powerful warriors in Aoshi, all of them turned their fighting spirit into wings, and rushed towards Xiaojin, with all kinds of swords, magic arrows, and other weapons. Childish. Yang Tian sneered. Then, the hundreds of strong men were shocked to find that they could not break Xiaojin's defense. Just kidding, although Xiaojin is only a level 61 royal beast, he is a berserker. Among the royal beasts, its defense ability is quite excellent, much higher than that of the level 65 royal bee. In addition, it is different from ordinary royal beasts. It can also wear equipment. A set of 9 pieces of level 30 royal weapons is not much at present, but it is definitely effective. The 4 resistances and double guards have also increased a lot. Hundreds of powerful warriors in Aoshi, fighting spirit into wings, do not increase combat power, and of course they can't break Xiaojin's defense. Element designation, change the royal beast to fire attribute. Change the fighting spirit form and fight again, Fenchen roared. Hearing this, the fighting spirit lightwings behind the hundreds of powerful warriors in Aoshi disappeared, and the fighting spirit all turned into flower buds, wrapping the body and the soldiers. They landed one after another and attacked fiercely. This time, they were almost able to break the defense, at least tens of thousands of damage, and the strongest 10 people with orange fighting spirit could even deal 200,000 damage. The aftermath of the battle alone wiped out the 40 werewolf zombie kings under Yang Tian. After all, the werewolf zombie king does not have the terrifying defense of Xiaojin. They dealt tens of thousands of damage to Xiaojin, but when it fell on the werewolf zombie king, it was millions or tens of millions of damage, easily killing the werewolf zombie king in seconds. Xiaojin suffered a wave of concentrated fire, losing more than 5 million HP, and the HP bar on his head dropped by a quarter. There is hope, pay attention to dodge. Fenchen was overjoyed to see that the output was effective. Just as he was about to give another order, Xiaojin was furious and released the lightning electromagnetic field first, paralyzing all of them. Fenchen's words just stopped halfway, and he was controlled and temporarily lost consciousness. Powerful sweep. Xiaojin waved his sword wildly, like chopping melons and vegetables, easily breaking the fighting spirit of everyone, and instantly turning 1 or 2 circles of people around him into white light. Xiaojin was considered a berserker by default. If it is said that its defense is strong, then its attack is stronger. More importantly, it is wearing a spiritual weapon armor-breaking ring. Even a shield warrior can't stand it. Xiaojin is 3 meters tall, and the giant sword in its hand is also 3 meters long. Its attack range is far beyond the reach of players. Just now, its powerful sweep killed more than half of them, leaving only the last 30 standing in the back row of the outer circle. The sky collapsed and the earth split. Xiaojin suddenly jumped up, smashed the giant sword on the ground, and destroyed half of the square. Even the squishy ones were all killed instantly. Attack the crystal, Yang Tian shouted. Hearing this, Xiaojin and more than 300 shooters of Nu Shen attacked the crystal at the same time. In less than 3 seconds, the crystal exploded. System, congratulations to Nu Shen for winning the desert battlefield. All members of Nu Shen will gain add 100% experience in 1 week. System, unfortunately, Aoshi lost the desert battlefield. All members of Aoshi will be level -1. Members of both sides received a system prompt. On the Nu Shen side, everyone was rioting and felt extremely excited. The only regret is that there was no system broadcast. Otherwise, defeating Aoshi in the guild war would be such a majestic thing. On the other side, all the members of Aoshi were stunned, and the faint smiles on their faces disappeared in an instant. Everyone became uneasy. What the hell? We lost? What are you guys doing on the battlefield? That's right, a giant guild, a small guild whose name I haven't even heard of. How can it lose? Boss Jian Huang, are you letting it go? I just leveled up yesterday, and I just dropped like that. The guild channel of Aoshi exploded instantly, with a strong smell of gunpowder. This is normal, everyone is downgraded, who can bear it? Shut up, what do you know? That Muddy Water is also in the Wrathful God Guild, he has a level 61 Emperor Beast War Servant. Do you really think it's that easy to deal with? Fenchen's cold voice sounded in the guild channel. At the same time, he immediately sent away a few guys who were shouting the most, which had the effect of killing the chicken to scare the monkey. In an instant, the Aoshi guild channel became quiet again, and no one dared to talk anymore. After all, it was not easy for them to join Aoshi. This is a symbol of status and they don't want to lose it. Brothers, from now on, if you meet someone from the God of Fury, kill him. After Fenchen played the good cop, Jian Huang immediately played the bad cop, directing everyone's anger to the God of Fury. After doing this, Jian Huang was still unhappy. Now, Yang Tian's advantage has indeed risen, and he can't help but accept it. If he lets Yang Tian grow, he can't believe how rampant the former will be. However, if he is asked to take action now, he is not sure. Fighting spirit. Compared to muddy water, only fighting spirit is our real advantage. The Sword Emperor quietly clenched his fist. He had made up his mind not to level up for the time being. He would first upgrade his military rank and activate the full-level fighting spirit. With the full-level fighting spirit, he would be more powerful, and wouldn't it be faster to upgrade? On the other side, the God of Wrath continued to receive challenges from some guilds. But Huangmao rejected them all. As the saying goes, the first bird to stick out will be shot. The God of Wrath has won countless games in a row. If he continues to win like this, he will become famous. And he knew very well that the God of Wrath had no foundation now, and it was not necessarily a good thing to become famous too early. Well, it's better to slow down. Let's go and upgrade first and wait for Xiaofei's news. Yang Tian smiled and came to the Tauran tribe again with everyone. That night, he finally received Xiaofei's news. He had already arranged the teleportation array in the other 3 empires. Boss, the people from the Dark Empire and Guangzhou Empire are too powerful. Although I went there to set up the teleportation array, I have lost the first kill in those 8 copies. Xiaofei sighed. Of course, his trip was not in vain. After setting up the teleportation array, he can go directly from there next time he goes to the Dark Empire or Guangzhou Empire, which is enough to save a lot of time. The Dark Empire is Zeus's base camp. Zeus is very strong. It is normal for them to get the first kill of the hell in the level 60 copy. Yang Tian nodded. Among the 10 giant guilds, only Zeus is in the Dark Empire. Zeus has no opponents and dominates directly. Of course, more importantly, other giant guilds dare not confront Zeus head-on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 269. The first guild, Zeus, in the Dark Empire. The second guild, Demon God, located in the Guangzhou Empire. The third guild, Myth, located in the Xinwu Empire. The fourth guild, dominates the world and is located in the Guangzhou Empire. The fifth guild, Free Alliance, located in the Tianlan Empire. The sixth guild, Proud of the World, located in the Xinwu Empire. The seventh guild, Hall of Fame, located in Tianlan Empire. The eighth guild, Temple of the Goddess, located in the Tianlan Empire. The ninth guild, Golden Thorn Alliance, located in the Tianlan Empire. In the past, it was among the top 10 guilds, with the Assassin Alliance being the 9th and the Merchant Alliance being the 10th. It's not that these 2 guilds are not strong, it's just that the Assassin Alliance engages in assassinations and the Merchant Alliance does business. They don't set their goal on domination. And even so, the fact that they can be ranked among the top 10 guilds is enough to prove that they are quite strong. And now they have merged into one and formed the Golden Thorn Alliance, ranking 9th. However, the above rankings are all based on previous online games. Now that we are in the Taixu era, there will inevitably be a reshuffle. Just like the Golden Thorn Alliance, is it really ranked 9th? I'm afraid I can even rank in the top 3 with my eyes closed. As for the later rankings, Yang Tian doesn't know. Because Yang Tian discovered that many things have changed in this life. For example, in the previous life, there was no so-called Golden Assassin Alliance. The Assassin Alliance was still the Assassin Alliance, the Merchant Alliance was still the Merchant Alliance, and there was no merger at all. For another example, Yang Tian did not create a guild in his previous life, but he had plans in this life. His guild would naturally aim to be number one. Of the four empires, the Dark Empire is the quietest, dominated by Zeus. Next is the Guangjao Empire, only the demon god and Xiong dominate the world. Next is the Xinwu Empire, which only has mythology and Aishi. Of course, Yang Tian Huangmao is more popular. Finally, there is the Tianlan Empire, the Golden Thorn Alliance, the Freedom Alliance, the Temple of the Goddess and the Hall of Fame, all there. In the Tianlan Empire, I am afraid there will be wars every day. Forget it about the Dark Empire. Zeus has a lot of experts and has more than a dozen great gods. Their advantage is too great, and they have no opponents in the Dark Empire. It's normal for them to win the first kill of the level 60 dungeon. Huo Wu analyzed, but what's going on with the Guangjao Empire? Although the demon god is strong, he can't say that he can stabilize the world and dominate the world, right? There must be some constraints between the two major guilds. Why is the Guangjao Empire's first kill gone? Haoshan, the guild leader who dominates the world, used to be Suanj's favorite general. He jumped out and founded his own guild, but Suanj also invested in it. Their two guilds are equivalent to wearing a pair of trousers, like a Golden Thorn Alliance. Completely you can think of them as a guild. Huangmao sighed, feeling trembling in his heart. When the angry god fought against the demonic god, Suanj probably didn't take him seriously at all. Otherwise, if Xiong domination also joins the war, he will definitely be defeated at that time. That's it. Everyone nodded, feeling extremely sad in their hearts. That was an internal business. If Huangmao hadn't mentioned it, how would they have known about it? However, since the two major guilds wear the same pants, it is equivalent to jointly dominating the Guangjao Empire. There are usually no differences, and the masters of the two major guilds can even be united to form a large group, led by Xianji, which is indeed unimaginably strong. Xiaofei, what's going on in the Tianlan Empire? Yang Tian asked. It's very chaotic. When I went there were big battles everywhere in the Tianlan Empire, even outside the dungeon mirror, there would be fighting at any time. At present, there are still 4 hell first kills left in the Tianlan Empire, Xiaofei said. Yang Tian nodded secretly. The strongest guild in the Tianlan Empire should be the Golden Thorn Alliance. The boss of the Golden Thorn Alliance, I love gold coins, is over 40 years old. He mainly leads the senior cadres of the Merchant Alliance to engage in business and make money for investment. In terms of hegemony, Shinayu and the veteran cadres of the Assassin Alliance are still in charge. In the past, Shinayu only accepted assassins, but of course it was different now. However, they were used to playing jungle in the past. Although they have absorbed some masters from other professions, the tacit understanding of team play cannot be trained in a day or two. Therefore, compared to Zeus Demon God and other giant guilds, they did not have much advantage in grabbing the first kill in the dungeon, and were even slightly at a disadvantage. The Golden Thorn Alliance has the most powerful capital and many masters under their command. No one dares to deny their future, but they have not yet shown their power. Okay, let's go to Tianlan Empire and get the first kill, Yang Tian said with a smile. Well, at the moment we are mainly focused on grabbing the first kill and leveling up. As long as we maintain our advantage, it is not impossible to win all the first kills in the 4 empires in the future, Huangmao said. Among everyone, Yang Tian is not the strongest, Xiao Jin is the strongest. It is an imperial beast in itself, and its foundation is too high. With its help, everyone at level 60 can defeat the level 65 imperial beast and get the first kill in hell. If everyone is level 70, they can probably defeat the level 75 imperial beast and get the first kill in hell. This advantage will snowball, getting bigger and bigger. The experience points rewarded for the first kill are very generous, which can keep everyone's level ahead, and also gain skill points. Tisk tisk tisk, there are so many skill point resources in one war zone, whoever gets more will have a greater advantage. If this is really the case, it won't work unless it goes against the grain in the later stage. Yeah, everyone nodded, extremely excited. The Tianlan Empire is within the protection scope of the crazy zoo copy image. Swish, brush, brush. 13 consecutive white lights flashed, and Yang Tian and others teleported over. Alice was not a member of the Dragon Empire and could not be teleported. Yang Tian took her back to the pet space, and at this time, he naturally summoned her again, so there were 14 people. Lang Ling was not a member of the Dragon Empire either, so Yang Tian could not put him in the pet space, so naturally he could not bring him over. The first kill in Hell rewards a total of 15 skill points. 1 point for each of the 14 people. Yang Tian took a little more, there is nothing to say. He would not give up the skill points within reach to anyone, after all, he has his own righteousness. We are all level 61 now, brushing the level 60 dungeon, limited to 3 times a day, normal, difficult, and expert. Yang Tian smiled and said, "Today, we will take down the experts of these 4 dungeons first, and then take the first kill in Hell tomorrow." Everyone nodded, this is fine, after all, there is a limit on the number of challenges. Seeing that everyone had no questions, Yang Tian prepared to lead the group into the dungeon. At this time, hundreds of white lights flashed, and a large group of 101 people just finished brushing the dungeon and withdrew. What's interesting is that all 101 of them are female players, and most of them are beautiful women, forming a beautiful landscape at the entrance of this copy mirror. Such a large number of female players, appearing at the same time in a place where men gather, is simply a breath of fresh air. As they appeared, some male players around them suddenly opened their eyes wide, opened their mouths wide, and were dumbfounded, and even heard indecent swallowing sounds. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 270. One of the top 10 guilds, the Goddess Temple, only this guild can send out so many female players, because this guild only recruits female players. Huo Wu analyzed on the side, then frowned and said disdainfully, "I really don't understand what they are thinking. They call themselves goddesses. Do they have any shame?" It must be said that Huo Wu has a beautiful face and a good figure. She is a rare beauty. It's just that her personality is quite domineering, which makes her lose a lot of points. After all, men either like soft girls who are like little birds or conquer iceberg beauties, and the female level is really a bit overwhelming. With such a personality, she certainly doesn't care about other people's opinions. She just thinks that girls should not use their gender as capital, which will only make them look cheap. At this time, Xiao Fei pushed Yang Tian Huangmao, pointed at a beautiful woman opposite, and said with a lewd smile, "Boss, Huangmao brother, that is Xuanggro, the president of the Goddess Temple. She is so beautiful. If she were my girlfriend, I would hug her to sleep every day and play the egg game." Yang Tian rolled his eyes when he heard this, and thought to himself, "Is this all you have?" Xuanggro has big eyes, a beautiful nose, a cherry mouth, and delicate features. Her little face is tender and delicate, and against the background of her smooth black hair, her skin looks even whiter, beautiful and attractive. She is wearing a white robe, and the majestic range of her chest is breathtaking. She should be a mage, and a round magic bead the size of a palm is constantly rotating around her thin waist. In his previous life, Yang Tian had of course seen Xuanggro a long time ago, and now seeing her again, he still feels very surprised. Huangmao looked at Xuanggro, but his face looked quite unnatural. Suddenly, Xuanggro noticed the gazes from this side, raised her cold eyes and swept over. Everyone thought she was going to be angry, but who knew she trotted over, looked at Huangmao with a happy face, and said, "Master, we finally meet again." "Master, Yang Tian was slightly startled, thinking that Huang Mao was really fickle and flirting everywhere. Xiaofei was stunned, dumbfounded, staring at Huang Mao with a pair of eyes, full of envy and jealousy. Men, naturally understand the filthiness of men's hearts. Between men and women, there is no real friendship, no master and apprentice. I like you, so I will be friends with you. I like you, so I will accept you as my apprentice. I didn't expect that Huang Mao, who said every day that women are all beautiful women, and they are not good things, was romantic and unrestrained, passing through the flowers without getting a leaf on him. It was not just Yang Tian and Xiaofei who were shocked. Huo Wu, Lan Yu, and others, even Iron Man, Green Algae Head, Ghost Hand, all looked at Huang Mao and Zhuang Rou in shock. They were not as dirty as Yang Tian and Xiaofei. They just felt that although Huang Mao was a master, Zhuang Rou was the president of the goddess temple. What virtue and ability did you have to be her master? Yang Tian had a different idea from everyone else. Although the god of fury is only a third-rate guild now, Huang Mao is undoubtedly a great god. And Yang Tian knew that Huang Mao was very powerful before, otherwise he would not have been able to bring out someone of Ziyi Yan's level. Since he was able to bring out Ziyi Yan, it was not surprising that he brought out Zhuang Rou. Xiaorou, don't call me master, I really didn't teach you anything, and you are now the president of the goddess temple. If you call me master again, it will be cheap, Huang Mao said with a wry smile. Hypocrisy. Xiaofei's mouth twitched, and he felt that Huang Mao's way of picking up girls was different and unfathomable. Huang Mao smiled bitterly. He was telling the truth. He mainly played warrior classes in online games, and so did Ziyi Yan. So he could confidently say that he was the one who brought Ziyi Yan up. But Zhuang Rou mainly played the mage class, and he never taught her anything. It was just that there was a master-apprentice setting in an online game before, and there were rewards for accepting apprentices. Huang Mao accepted Zhuang Rou as his apprentice, just by accident, and he was greedy for that reward. Who knew that Zhuang Rou took it seriously? No, Yi Nu Hongyan, you are my master. Zhuang Rou shook her head seriously and said, Master, I heard about you and Ziyi Yan. I think that kind of fickle woman is not worthy of you at all. It's my inability, Huang Mao sighed secretly. He always felt that if he crushed Qianji in all aspects, Ziyi Yan might not leave him. Okay, let's not talk about that. Xiaorou, you came at the right time. Take us to the hell level of Crazy Zoo directly, Huang Mao said. None of them had ever played Crazy Zoo. At the beginning, they could only play at the normal level, but Zhuang Rou and the others had already played at the hell level. Although they had not played before. With Zhuang Rou leading the team, everyone can directly play at the hell level and get the first kill today. Hearing this, Zhuang Rou pouted her lips and stared at Huang Mao with some reproach. What do you mean, Xiaorou? You came at the right time. You don't want to see me at all. Otherwise, you obviously came to the Tianlan Empire, but you didn't contact me. I just happened to run into you. Humph. Zhuang Rou didn't point it out. She turned around and said something to the girls. Then she took a few girls out of the team and rejoined Yang Tian's team. Cold Eyes, Beauty, Blue Dad, Tisk Tisk, they are all masters. Yang Tian looked at the people who joined the team and sighed secretly. Zhuang Rou, this woman, is really not an ordinary person. If Huang Mao can take her down, that would be great. While Yang Tian sighed, he handed the position of the team leader to Zhuang Rou. It's very difficult to get to the hell level. If you can't get it, don't blame me, Zhuang Rou smiled. Before entering the game, she stared at Yang Tian with her beautiful eyes. Since she is the president of the goddess temple, she is naturally not an ordinary woman. Although she looks gentle and sweet and has no lethality, she is actually a very powerful character. In her opinion, Huang Mao is very strong, otherwise she would not have been entangled in the previous playful master-disciple relationship. And she found that Huang Mao was not the leader, but someone else, so she naturally looked at Yang Tian with a new eye. System, you discovered Crazy Zoo and gained 14,000 experience points. As the system prompt sounded in their ears, Yang Tian and others came to a huge zoo. Help! Suddenly, a low health keeper NPC ran towards the crowd. And behind him, there was a group of wolves. Because it was the difficulty of hell, the group of wolves were all enhanced monsters, chasing the keeper all the way, stirring up billowing smoke and dust behind them, with great momentum. Save him, Yang Tian said. He gave up the position of leader to Shuangro just for the sake of convenience, and directly reached the hell level. But he would not give up the power of leader. Because Shuangro could not reach the hell level, but he could. Men, sometimes, should be more domineering.